If I told you we're going to run a marathon and you are going to run this marathon in 1 week from now, that might make you feel some type of way, but it's definitely going to make you feel different than if I said you're going to run a marathon 1 year from now. And this is the difference of having the right mindset and the right expectations of things. So, the mindset going into the modeling world or going into leveling up your modeling career, it needs to be set properly. And that's why we're starting here. Because if you're thinking that you're going to run a marathon in 1 year from now, but a week from now, I show up and I say, get ready, you're running your marathon today. You might not be so prepared physically, mentally, emotionally, all across the board. So we want to have good expectations, get the mindset right for what it is that you're after, because modeling, like any career, like any pursuit, is not going to be the same thing for every person. You might have your reason of why you want to do this and how far you want to take this and what you want to do with it, but it's going to be different for every person. So having the right mindset for you is very important. Now, there's also the aspect of, well, whether I pick 1 week from now or 1 year from now to run this marathon, am I going to run another one? Am I going to keep running marathons? Am I now a marathoner? At what point do you go from I've never modeled before to I'm now a model? At what point do you go to I'm a professional model? Or I just do a little bit of modeling? Or I've tried modeling. Wherever you are on this whole spectrum, you want the right mindset. You want the right mindset to make sure that you're making the right steps along the way and that you're not having expectations. We'll get into my story about expectations in a moment. You want to have the right expectations for yourself, of yourself, and of the industry as a whole. So, where does modeling fit in for you in your life? Where do you see this going in the next 3 months' time? Next, I don't know, 12 months, 3 years' time? Like, where do you see this going? And having a decent idea of this, you don't have to know exactly right now, but having a decent idea of where you want to go is going to help you make the right moves and understand what to expect in the time spent, in the energy spent, and in the momentum building phases of building up your modeling pursuit. So, you want to know a lot of things, from the red flags of modeling in the modeling industry, the green flags of modeling in the modeling industry. You want to know what's normal. Like, what should I expect from my agent? What should I expect before I even have an agent? What should I expect from other models? What should I expect when I'm on a set from everybody involved, the photographer, the clients, and all these things? Like, what expectations should I have? And the first one that I would give you right now is to have the expectation to hear no a lot. So if you have any sales experience, if you've ever had a role where you were in a sales position and you heard no a lot, then you're in good position. This is perfect. You're going into a place that should be very familiar to you, which is I'm putting myself out there, I'm hearing no, and I'm not taking it personally. You don't want to take a no personally. We can dive into why that is later, but a very short story of why that is I'll give you, I tell people this often. I auditioned for this spot. I knew the casting director for this photo shoot and the person in charge of hiring the models for this shoot. And she shared with me there was one guy that looked just like her ex-husband, and she was kind of recently divorced. It was kind of an ugly divorce, and she didn't book the guy, obviously, because for her it was a big hang up. She couldn't get past that. And some people, you might have a really high emotional intelligence score, right? Your EQ might be really high, you might be really well developed, you might be able to tame your ego and say, you know what, that's a weird coincidence, but they're still a good fit for the role. Not everybody's like that, and in this case, that she wasn't like that either. She did not book the guy just because he looked like her ex-husband. Now, that's something he could not change at all, unless, of course, he went and just had like plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, and rearranged everything. But that's something that he should not take personally. He didn't book the job. He heard a no and didn't hear why. It's rare that you will ever hear why you didn't book a job, but he didn't hear why. And if he took that personally, how impossible is it for him to overcome the reason he didn't book that? And there's going to be an infinite number of reasons why we don't book a job, and that's okay. You should not take that personally, but understand that the right mindset going into this, you're going to hear no a lot. You're going to audition for a lot of things. Some of them might be that dream job, might be that one you really, really want, and you don't get it. You hear no. And just understand that there's always something you can work on, and you should still take criticisms in a healthy way and see, what's true about whatever criticism I received, and how does it fit into who I want to be for myself, regardless of this whole career path. Like, is this criticism true? And is that truth something I want to change about myself to become closer to the person that I admire, the person that I want to be for myself? So you want to have the right mindset in this space entirely to stay strong. But you also have to understand that hearing a no is not a personal thing. It could be something as odd, as wildly far out there as you just resembled the person in charge of hiring the talent. You resembled somebody that they dislike, their ex-husband, maybe their ex-spouse, whatever it is. So understand that the expectation, the right mindset of, I'm going to hear no a lot, and that's okay. It's okay to hear no. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It doesn't mean a bad reflection on who you are as a human. And there might be some space for you to say, I could improve on this because it's closer to who you want to be. But first, you want the mindset of, where does modeling fit in to your life? Don't try to force fit yourself into this thing because it's glamorous and it seems like this cool career path to go, or this really fun experience or whatever. Don't do that. Figure out for yourself, where does this fit in to you as a person, to your whole being, the whole essence of your life, your existence? Like, is modeling something that I just kind of want to try it out? I want to do maybe 1-2 shoots a year. I know people like that. They have their whole life and they shoot 1-2 times a year and they're totally happy with that. Is that you? Or are you a person that you're just hungry, you really want to do this and you want to make this your new 9 to 5, your new full-time thing where you go, this is how I pay my bills. Doing this, modeling is how I pay my bills. But you want to understand where it fits for you. Don't try to force fit yourself into something, because then you're going to be latching onto everything that somebody says about you, or might have an opinion about you, or you need to lose weight, or you need to gain weight, you need to add muscle, you need to lose muscle, whatever it is. Understanding what you want for you and how modeling fits for you is super important for you to have a healthy lifestyle and have a healthy experience in the modeling industry. So figure out what that is for you, where it actually fits for you. If you want it to be that full-time job that, I'm a marathoner, like that's what I do now. I'm a model, that's what I do now. Or yeah, I ran a marathon once and it was a good time. It was wild. I trained for it. I did all these things. I did it. And I don't do it anymore. I just wanted to try it once. That's fine too. But you want to understand what the fit is for you and have the right mindset going into this. Now, quick story for me. When I got into modeling, it was sort of happenstance, and I didn't know what to do to apply to an agency. I didn't know how to get signed. So just went on the website, and there's like, luckily a lot of agencies have, here's how you can submit to be signed with our agency. So I went down this list, and they're like, yeah, take some photos, add some photos here, whatever. I took some of the worst photos. I mean, ridiculously. I just did it all myself, like tripod camera on the timer. I want to showcase all of my abilities. So I took it to the gym on the basketball court when it was like a dead hour. There was nobody there. And I'm like, oh, let me go up and dunk and try to time it just right. And it took so many different times trying to figure out the timer and the timing of everything. But I did all these different abilities and took all these photos, dressed up in a suit, had a horrible shot. If you don't know anything about photography or lighting or anything, just know this. Rule of thumb, just like right now as I'm filming, the light source is over there shooting at me, right? Like the light is hitting me this way. What you don't want is the light behind you, because that's how you create a silhouette. You can't see the actual features of what's there. You just see a silhouette. And I took so many of these shots silhouetted, and it's like, you can't even tell really on some of them, like, is that actually me? Anyway, all these horrible photos, it was enough for me to have a meeting with the agency. So they're like, okay, come on in. We want to meet you. Go in, meet them, end up signing. And I'm like, I made it. This is it. The big break. I mean, signing with an agency, that's a huge deal. Like, that means that I made it. That's what I thought. That was my mindset. That was my expectation. And that's what I didn't hear that, but I kind of heard that. Like, oh, when you sign with an agency, when you have an agent, that just, it clicked for me. Like, that was the big break. So my mindset was off. and I didn't hear anything for the next month. Now, a month might not seem like that long, but when you go, oh man, I just signed with an agency, you think you got the big break. Every single day, every hour of the day, several times an hour, checking your email, hoping for a message from them, checking your phone, no phone calls from your agent. And you're just like, 30 days, day 32, day 34. Finally, an email comes in. That's such a long time and it's grueling. And you're just like, man, like, what am I doing? I remember thinking to myself, is this a hoax? Did I make a mistake? Did I do something wrong? Did I not do something right? Like, is there something I should have been doing that I haven't done yet? Did I miss something in the paperwork? The contract or signing that I was supposed to do and I didn't do? All of these questions going through my head. Finally, email comes in. Nike wants to book you. I'm like, absolutely. Let's do it. Whatever I have to do, let's go. Book this Nike job. I go and shoot it. I make more in one day than a full week working my office job at the investment firm. Absolutely riding a high. Like, this is it. This is the feeling. I have a big payday. I did the shoot. It's with a big brand. I'm here. Like, I signed. It took a month, but I'm here. I'm finally here. Like, this is what modeling is all about. And then I didn't hear anything for another 2 months. I think it was like 2.5, almost 3 months. I didn't hear anything. Finally booked that big job, didn't hear anything. Is that normal? Is this kind of the pace that a professional model works? Because it seems like the real good models, the professional models, the ones that are signed to agencies, it seems like they're working all the time. I mean, I see them on Instagram, I see them on social media, and plus I have this perception in my head of what they work like. And I didn't know, is that normal or not? And so after that, the 2 months, 3 months later, okay, book another thing, great. And then I'm auditioning and I'm not booking this and it's all these different questions. I didn't have a right mindset. I didn't really have a clear mindset at all. And nobody steered me to have the right mindset. At the time, I didn't realize it, but I was ready to run a marathon that week, but I hadn't trained for it. There were so many things I hadn't done. I hadn't done the work that I needed to do to get high quality images, build a portfolio that has good images, not horrible images that I shot with a timer and I'm backlit. There's so many aspects that I didn't build, I didn't do along the way. And I'm expecting to run a marathon in 1 week, when in reality, I should have been expecting to run a marathon in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and do a lot of work, a lot of things leading up to it. So having the right mindset changes everything. Shakespeare said that expectation is the root of all heartache. And I would swap that to say expectation. I would say improper expectation is the root of heartache. If you have the expectation that you're going to crush it as a model in 1 week, but the reality is it's going to take you a few months to spin things up, to get your shoots, your portfolio, everything dialed, you're going to have heartache. If your expectation is, I want to start modeling and I'm going to be doing a lot of work over the next year, then 6 months from now, you might be way ahead of the game and you're going to actually be more successful in 6 months than you had almost envisioned mentally to be prepared for in a year, because you're planning to do the right thing and you're playing the long game. So have the right mindset. We're going to dive into some good things here and we're going to keep it moving on our mindset module.